Right, guys, we've got another six marker in 6 minutes. I'm going to try to explain this one a bit better than I have done in the previous takes. It's quite a wordy one, but it's a good example of getting faced with quite an overwhelming question and how you should really approach the answer to this without getting flustered. Okay, so the process we're going to follow is we're going to first go for our knowledge marks, demonstrated by the K. Then we're going to put in some application, so apply the theory width to the text given, and maybe add some numbers. And then we're going to put some analysis in, which is the meat of the answer, where we go from one point to another point to another point to another point. We're building a logical chain of reasoning. Okay, so let's break down the question. So the question is saying, using extract one, analyze why the deficit on trade in goods and services is not really, really big. Is not as large as the deficit on trade in goods only. So that the deficit in goods and services is less than deficit in goods, which means that services must be doing a good job, aka services we must be running a surplus in, okay? Because that's the only difference between the two, okay? And so the two causes for this are number one, that we run a service trade surplus, and also number two is that why do we import so many goods? Okay, so these are the 2 points we need to cover. Because importing too many foreign goods explains a large deficit in trade in goods, and the fact that we sell a lot of services abroad explains why our deficit in the trade of goods and services included is not that bad. Okay, so let's go into how I did it. So first things first is I just tried to work out what the question was asking me, to be honest. Um, So I tried to basically just reason to myself that, yeah, UK service trade surplus meant that we've reduced the trade deficit in goods and services compared to goods alone. Okay, standard stuff. Then I went into some not to some basic application stuff, which is just using some of the data in extract to support the answer. So I think the text boxes are a bit misaligned with the. There we go. Okay. So I've said that in 2014, so I've drawn a line here from 2014, and I've looked at the points at what's the value of the goods and services deficit and value of the goods deficit. I've mentioned it here. What is it? Yeah, 29 billion, 121 billion. And I've said it's where, and I've given a definition. Okay, so that will go into knowledge. So knowledge is just definitions and theory. That's why it's absolute must that you've revised all the content very thoroughly. Otherwise, exam technique is fruitless. Okay? But because we're close to the exam technique is going to be very, very important. You don't want to be in a position where you've done all the revision and then you don't know how to answer the questions, you get flustered and you get a bad mark. Okay? So now we go into the meat of the answer, which is actually talking about why do we import so much. And so one of the reasons I've said here is that basically abroad they make goods cheaper than us because they have lower income countries have a large pool of unskilled labor working in the manufacturing sector. Labor costs fall, so the prices fall. Okay, so you see this is a prime example of a chain of analysis. I've gone from lower income, large pool of unskilled, manufacturing sector, labor costs, and then prices falling. Okay, and then I've given a last little point which I thought was quite interesting, which is that British consumers enjoy the range of products from imports. I mean, we do. That's why we import. Okay, because we don't have great weather here to eat a lot of stuff. Okay, and then I've explained why we run a surplus in services, which is because we're a developed country. Step one, tertiary sector. Step two, financial services. Step three, and also we say that manufacturing is declining, so we're reorientating sort of a structural change in the economy. And I've given a nice point at the end, actually, which is showing a bit of my worldliness, which is that the UK has a strong higher education sector, of which I am in. And I see around me, there's a lot of foreign tourists and students. And so, because they buy a British souvenir, they buy, rooms in British hotels, that counts as an export because they've bought it in pounds. They've converted from rupees, let's say, into pounds. So that counts as a surplus in services. Okay, so that's basically a full run through of how to answer the question following a knowledge analysis application, well, actually, knowledge application analysis structure. Hopefully, you found it useful. If you know anyone who could find like this sort of video useful, where because I don't really see much on YouTube about like actually when you're sitting an exam, what's going through your head. This is the best thing I can do, closest thing I can do to emulate the experience I had, and I did pretty well. So yeah, share it if you liked it, and more videos coming. Feel free to let me know what you'd like to see. I think I'm going to do maybe some lessons on content as well, not just exam technique. Especially, yeah. Okay, let's do that then. All right, I will see you next time. Bye bye.